welcome back to our channel. I'm Bree.
And I'm Evan.
And this is Reality Check TV.
Ba-bow.
Here is where we discuss some of our favorite reality shows to watch together as a couple. So if you love reality TV like we do, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you can get notified anytime we post a new review.
Go ahead and be the ones to miss out.
You don't want to be that person. Don't be that person. Welcome back. Okay. First of all, some of y'all probably just watched our Ready to Love review. So here we are again. Thank you for following us over here. Shout out to y'all. Others, y'all probably haven't seen us since we last saw not Ready to Love. Huntsville. That's the damn show. Yes, it's Huntsville. So welcome back, guys. I hope you guys missed us because we missed you. And it's like Love and Marriage Huntsville ain't miss a beat. They didn't miss a beat. We have so much to discuss, guys.
And y'all, we know,
so much.
Y'all know we love y'all.
Why you stuttering?
we have the usual pleasantries for y'all, but we're ready to get into this. So let's pass the pleasantries because there's a whole lot in this episode.
Okay. Well, I do want to shout out to my shirt though, because God said go. Shout out to my man for getting me the shirt though.
God said review too.
Shout out to Mel. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So the Huntsville police is looking for Kiki. Let's just get that out the way real quick. The Huntsville police is looking for Kiki, and I'm confused. So I'm like, you don't gotta look far. She on TV.
Kiki, did you steal it?
She ain't far, but that's what they said. They said, according to Crime Stoppers. They out here looking for them.
And they got her on camera.
They got you on tape, girl. They got you on tape.
Girl, they arrest you. You better say your name, Letitia Scott. Say your name, Letitia Scott. And your husband, Marcel Scott, was in there with you.
Because his ass need to go to jail. Do you hear me? He needs to go to jail.
All that scamming for years.
Yes. So my girl Mel goes to Tiffany's house to see the new baby. Cute. It's always cute to see new babies. So they're talking. They do their little pleasantries. Oh my God. It's good to see you. You look so great. Oh, the baby's so cute. Blah, blah, blah. Don't matter. Because Tiffany's like, Mel, so what we going to do about our brands? Mel's like, well, what you mean? So Tiffany feels like it is not a good look to be associated with likes of Kiki because, like, we got brands to protect. Right, Mel? We got brands. Like, what we gonna do about that? Like, I can't believe that I saw this on TV and I'm like, something is truly wrong with her. Like, what would possess a person to do this? We got brands to protect. And this is when Tiffany's white woman starts to show. This is when you remember, like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. You forget for a second, right? We forget, but we was like, okay, like, yeah, that's because Mel's like, girl, innocent until proven guilty, girl. You can't believe everything you see on TV, girl. Like, let's just see how this all plays out. I'm going to go visit Kiki later this week. And I'm going to just go check and see how she's doing. But at the end of the day, if you feel like being associated with Kiki is bad for your brand, then, maybe you shouldn't talk to her then. Do you, girl? But I think Tiffany was looking for a moment for Mel to feed in to what she was saying.
Right.
And Mel did not take the bait. Mel, you getting real good at that though. You getting real good at that. And it's that Scorpio thing. I know it. Cause we just be like, we can duck and dodge the foolishness. We really can. We very good at saying like, yeah, I plead the fifth. I have no idea. I don't know who that man is. I don't know what's going on. So I appreciate you. Anything for this scene.
Where's Lewis? Lewis been gone. Like, even first half of the season.
I mean,
barely
I said
seen
that
him.
before.
Now we're not even seeing him this right now. Like, Lewis, where you been, bro?
I said that before. Well, this scene wraps up. Tiffany decides, like, I want to do a baby reveal, right? Like, kind of like a sip and see. That's what I thought they were called, but whatever. So she has Mel record a little video invitation for her. And I'm like, girl, I don't know if anybody's going to show up. But go off. Because I know that they have to show up. Because it's all a part of their contract. Mm-hmm. So there we go.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Since we got so much to cover, we are definitely going to go in order today. And I've been ready to get to this. So, Suge Knight, a.k.a. Courtney, pulls up to Black to confront Marsau. You know?
Say it with a straight face.
You know, I just think this scene was so funny because before Courtney even said anything, Marsau had that typical grin on his face like, oh shit. Like, that grin like, you got me, buddy. Let
me perform.
And, you know, as y'all know what Courtney's here for. You know, I'm not gonna go in order, but pretty much, you know, he confronted Marsau about him trying to check his wife. And this $100 out of nowhere that Marsau claims, bro, it was on the internet.
Say it right. Because this is important. Because this is when my mouth flew open.
What'd he say?
So Courtney is like, you know, where did $100 come from? Where was that mentioned? You mentioned that? He was like, no, like he's not answering the question. He's like, was it written down somewhere? You have it in writing? He's like, yeah, it's in writing. It's everybody. It's a known thing. Like, it's expected that the vendors were supposed to pay.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, where? Where's that written? He's like, on the internet. Yo.
Scamming 101.
Yo.
Scamming 101.
So we were supposed to just know it was $100
Yeah, because you know, I don't know if you knew, like the Black, what was it called?
The Black Expo.
The Black Expo. Like, you didn't know it was all over CNN and Fox. Like, you know, it's a nationwide event. Like, you didn't know you're supposed to pay $100. Come on now. But, you know, Marsau, it's just so funny because Marsau, he's being a little asshole because he knows he has cameras around, and that's the only reason Courtney ain't whoop his ass.
That's the only reason Courtney didn't whoop his ass.
Because Marsau had some mouth. That's the only reason.
Because we all know all Courtney got to do is, like, push his body up against him, and Marsau's... I'm scared of Courtney. So why?
And, you know, Marsau had some funny little comments, too. He said something like... He said something along the lines of... He is. He said something along the lines of, I didn't know, like... He's like, did I trigger you asking you for a payment? Like, pretty much trying to say...
You don't want to have that pissing contest, Marsau. You don't want to do that. Wrong road. But before we even got to that, y'all, again, we're going to be all over the place because it's like, it was so many moments just in this scene. Mm-hmm. It was the whole... When Courtney made the comment, just so we're clear, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. You know, me and y'all, you know. When he says stay out of women's business, why you always approaching women, stay out of women's business. What he meant by that is, I see the game that you're playing. We all know you, Marsau. We all know that this is the game that you play. You try to strong arm women that are on this show for your moment, and you use them for storylines, also to kind of deflect on what you and Tisha really have going on. That's what he means by stay out of women's business.
And let me add to, Courtney did make that comment saying, why are you always in women's business? That's, you know, that was preluded to that. And, you know, as y'all know, Marsala loves to argue with the women. Y'all know this. He don't argue with the men. He loved to argue with the women.
Because he always, to me, I feel like he always bitches up also with like Martell, who is the only one that you really should be going toe to toe with at all times. But I also feel like clearly they got some dirt on each other or something.
No, Martell has dirt on Marcel, so Marcel's not gonna cross Martell.
Oh, well, something is going on because it's like he never has that same energy. But let it be somebody like Mel or one of the other women. It's just, he's also very, very insecure and he's like jealous of women. That's weird too. You really need to figure that part out. But he makes the comment to Courtney like, you're telling me to stay out of women's business and you literally sell women's hair products. And it was like,
it makes multiple millions of dollars.
Like, and I can buy black. Well, like, what are you talking
about? He's making multiple millions of dollars at it while you're having 5 lawsuits.
And you're in your apartment.
In debt.
Like, what? Like, what? I just don't understand that. And then, like you said, making the comment, basically trying to make it seem like they hurting for the $100. It's not about the money. It's the principle of it and the way that you went about it. Because we all know that they have $100. Like, that's not it. And I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 1,000% sure, if this was handled in the right way, meaning prior to the event, in writing, this is the expected fee to have a booth at this conference or expo or whatever, it would have been paid. So, but we're not gonna, but that we know that. Like, we know.
And I think it's so funny because Marcel too was making comments like, damn, Courtney, why are you so protective over your wife?
Because it's a foreign concept to him.
Yeah, because he is a janitor and he doesn't have a wife. But I think it's funny too because Marcel said near the end too, he's like, well, I'll be waiting here for my apologies.
Yeah, oh yeah. He said that he's such an asshole.
If cameras were not around, Courtney would have wiped that man.
But Courtney went ahead and he was like, you know what, bet. And he took out a lot of money, was like, here's this $100 and gave it to the bartender. Bartender snatched it up real quick, by the way. And he was like, $100 ain't nothing.
And while he spent the money out, Marcel was counting like that was his first time seeing that much money. But I mean, when you have a lot of lawsuits against you,
the way that Courtney sunned Marcel, the way that he sunned Marcel in his establishment is hilarious. Like, oh my God. Like, it was everything that I needed for the premiere.
If cameras were not around, Marcel would be in a body cast. Because I'm just pretty. I saw that in Courtney's eyes. He was just like, them cameras are saving you, boy.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want.
I believe, Courtney, like, I don't know if y'all know the background. Courtney used to play college basketball. You
keep saying, are you sure basketball or not football?
No, it's basketball because I saw him in his jersey. Because Courtney, I think, is about a smooth 6'7".
So he tall and big. He just big.
Yeah.
That's why I said Suge Knight. It's not because he really looked like Suge Knight. For real. It's just the vibe. Like, this ain't what you want. That's all I gotta say.
Marcel.
It's like, come to death row. Like, that's what it's giving. So I was just...
But I think it's safe to say, Stormy and Courtney wouldn't not be doing business with the Scotts anymore. Safe to say.
The Scotts won't be doing business with the Scotts again, because let's get to Maurice a little bit later. But we digress. Next. So then we have another unfortunate scene. And this is with Tisha and Kimmy. So Kimmy goes to Tisha's new apartment.
Shack. Closet.
It's an apartment. She's like, oh, this is so cute. This could do for now. Tisha makes it clear that there's no timeline to when this magical house is going to be built. At this point, it's actually not even giving She by Sheree at this point, because, I mean, what are we on year 4 of this house? I mean, by year 4, Sheree had a little bit of a foundation.
Look, I'm letting this Sheree thing go. We have now transformed to the Scotts versus Toya and Eugene. Married to Medicine, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know because at least they still get houses. On a 1-year lease every year.
But at least they be in houses.
Oh, gosh.
Because, no, I'm sorry. I don't feel like that's no. No. I don't think that's the same.
Well, they had to downsize. They're going to run away from the feds,
Listen, allegedly. I have nothing to do with that. The point is, Kimmy came over to talk about all of this mess that's going on. They talked about the lunch with Tiffany and Stormy and how that went completely left. Tisha continues to say that I still don't know what Tiffany does. Kimmy's like, yeah, if you paid me $1,000, I wouldn't be able to tell you what Tiffany does. I'm like, okay. And Tisha's like, they're not a part of the comeback group. They were not a part.
I didn't know it was still there.
No, it's still there. People still paying taxes on it. So it's still a thing. But they're not a part of the comeback group. They didn't help out with this expo and all of blah, 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 blah. She feeling away.
Tisha does not want smoke from Stormy. I'm going to tell you that.
Tisha knows she don't want smoke from Stormy, but that's not the point. That is not
because she talking,
the point.
She over there talking big shit.
She was.
And when y'all at that lunch table, you skitty-catted out of there real fast.
Right. And they briefly talk about the Kiki thing. Long story short, Tisha feels like, I hope that she's not back on the pills. And I hope she's also not going back to dating a drug dealer, so she put that little tea out there.
Claimed like she was stealing stuff for the drug dealers and stuff.
Right. She alluded to that. Whatever. Don't care. The point why I'm bringing up this scene is because in this moment, this is what I'm talking about with Kimmy starting to annoy me, because this scene happens, but then there's another scene right after this with her and her horrendous husband, right? And they're riding bikes because, Kimmy has to, be active and make sure that she's able to bounce back from her recovery. We did find out when she was talking to Tisha that she is done with all of her cancer treatment. So, thank God. Mm-hmm. I think that had us all scared when we found out that Kimmy was diagnosed with cancer. Because we love Kimmy, right? But she's just been getting on my nerves a little bit now.
Despite the characters, you want people to be healthy. You don't want
always. This is just jokes. We really not that invested into these people's lives. We just going based off of what we see. Mm-hmm. But no, Kimmy though, that really, when we found out that she had cancer, that really touched my heart. I was scared. But anyways, so her and her husband go on this bike ride to be a little bit more active, and they're having a good time. And then of course he ruins it. So they talk about the expo and the blow up from that lunch with the ladies. And Kimmy is saying in this moment that she does understand where Stormy was coming from when it came to this whole $100 and Marceau approaching her about it the day of. And Maurice was like, yeah, we paid our $100. And Kimmy's like, why would we do that? Why did you do that? Come to find out. Scammer. Which we already knew this is probably what was the case. Mm-hmm. Kimmy found out some way, somehow. I think she said maybe somebody mentioned it to her. Or maybe it was Tisha. That only half of the vendors that were a part of the expo actually paid a fee. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because they did not have enough space. Like we said during that episode, they did not plan at all for the amount of space for each booth.
Right.
And so because of that, they then wanted to backtrack and then charge the people that were basically first come, first serve. And then also trying to get the speakers to pay as well, which is pretty much the same people that had the booths. Mm-hmm. Because Marceau even tried to make it seem when he was talking to Courtney about how she took up all of this space. But again, that's not her problem. It was never any cap. Mm-mm. Or anything written down about the booth space, right? And that's why you need to actually write down contracts and come up with agreements and be organized. I said this in that review. everybody should have gotten a layout of the space and you go from there. But they didn't do that. So they tried to backtrack and try to pocket money. But like Kimmy mentioned, they were pocketing money for what? This was supposed to be a free event, which it was. It was free to the public. There was no food provided. They weren't giving away anything. Every vendor that was there was selling their products or services or whatever. It was more so just about the exposure. So what was the cost for?
Lawyer fees.
Evan.
When you know, you know.
Can you let it go?
When you know.
Where
you
is
know.
that right now? I'm done.
When you know, you know.
I'm just done. The point is, I think it's a step further because I feel like Stormy even mentioned it later in the episode as well, that pretty much they were just trying to make a profit. They had certain people pay because they couldn't afford the event that they put together, and they were trying to pocket money, and they were scamming even the people that were a part of planning the event. And this is what Kimmy even said during those stupid meetings, like having this stuff written down and like who's paying, what are we paying, all of these different things. Like that's what those meetings were supposed to be about, but they weren't forthcoming with the information. They were not honest, and it does give scam. And so Maurice gets all mad. He's like, "You've got to be kidding me."
I'm so flabbergasted.
How could he do this? Like, this doesn't make sense. How could he do this? This is your brother. This is what he does.
You know, like, this is what both y'all do anyway, so.
This is what you do. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? And Maurice just goes along with everything that his brother says. And it just is fascinating to me because you just gave him $100 the day of.
And you got that little ass booth in the corner.
Right. Because then he going to bring up, yeah, and I was really mad because they gave us a small booth. Stormy had this big old booth.
My thing is they had a booth. What the hell are they selling?
I don't know. It was not, like I said, not everybody was selling something. Like it was also like exposure to like if you provide some type of service. And so like talking to people and just promoting and advertising your business. So I'm assuming he was probably... They probably set up a booth for that credit repair business.
Oh gosh.
I'm assuming. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But yeah, like Kimmy, it's frustrating because you had this information. So why when you were talking to Tisha, did you make it seem like Stormy and Tiffany were just like overreacting with just how janky the expo was? Like, I get it. You want to save face and stick up for your sister-in-law because at the end of the day, that's family. But your family is always on the wrong side of history, girl. Like, I really just feel like you should just start separating yourself. Just don't say anything. My problem is you always inserting yourself and saying like, oh, this ain't what it is, and sticking up for her. And I'm just kind of like, you can't stick up for nonsense all the time. You just can't. So guys, if y'all thought this scene was over, no, not with Maurice Scott. Not with Maurice Scott. The scene's not over yet. So, of course, we got to talk about sex. We got to, right? So, Kimmy's saying that she has to get some new yoni balls. If you don't know what yoni balls, like Evan didn't know what they were. The small balls, like they look like little marbles. And you insert them into the vagina. And it's supposed to tighten up your vagina muscles. And so you the purpose is to hold them in. Some people hold them in all day or throughout the night or whatever. And it's just supposed to tighten up that muscle. And they have different sizes. So anyways, Kimmy said that she needed to get some new ones. And of course, that starts the conversation about sex. And she was just like, she's doing whatever it takes to try to get her libido back up. And then this is Maurice. It's all mental, Kimmy. It's all mental.
Maurice looking like the little mouse he is.
That's exactly what he did. Low key, this is when I like completely checked out of the conversation because I'm done. We went through all of this over the summer. I'm done. I don't want to talk to this man anymore. I'm done. Kimmy, if you don't divorce, I'm just done. This is so stupid. He sits there and tries to argue with this woman that just recovered from cancer, and it's still like a recovery process. It's still a healing process. And it's going to try to convince her that it's all a mental thing, that she's too much in her head of why she's not able to bend it over when he wants her to. Like, he's a disgusting human being. He's disgusting. And the fact that you're saying this on national television, once again, I said this videos ago, it's either you are lying because you want to create a storyline, or this is truly who you are. And that is so dangerous, to perpetuate misinformation about cancer.
He'll be on World Star.
It was so ridiculous about not just cancer, but the physical body, like trying to sit there and argue with her about that. Yeah, because
let's be real. Like I said, Kimmy, she just stopped her treatments, but she has many doctor visits to go. And my thing is, it's going to, it takes people about a year or two to kind of get their body back. The cancer does a lot to the body. And she's still on this medication. Yeah, and the medication's going to be on for a while. But of course, Maurice is trying to figure out, so when does this medication wear off so you can be back normal?
He literally asked her that, y'all. So when is it over? Then is being very passive aggressive. It's like, okay, like when can I stop my watch? When is it going to be over? When is time up? When is time up? They were standing on a bridge. The way I would have thrown him over the bridge along with his bike. He infuriates me. Like it's like, God bless Kimmy, because she has a lot of patience.
But it's the thing of him and Marcel. Like I said, they're brothers for a reason. Marcel loves to argue with women. Maurice loves to offend.
You said offend?
Offend them. The things that come out his mouth. Marcel will argue.
Maurice offensive too.
No, but I'm saying Marcel wants to argue. Maurice, he's not really the arguing one. He just talks because he has a mouth.
That's more so what it is. Maurice talks like he knows what he's talking about, and he is so dumb to me. Like, he's very dumb. Like, he's not bright. It was like, like that part alone would frustrate me. I don't like when people play on my intelligence. Like, I cannot. So Kimmy is a very intelligent woman. Like, you can tell she's book smart, and she's I used to feel like she was a great communicator.
Sometimes she acted
right. That's what I was gonna say. It's like, that's how I felt, but I also used to think she was a great communicator. And so I don't know how she's able to be so like passive when he's spewing out ignorant shit.
A sucker for love, man.
This has to be more than love. I think a lot of it's built in insecurity.
But what gets me at the end, though, I think it was after she said, "You're being an asshole." He's like, "Oh, I'm being an ass today." He's like, "Oh, that's because I don't get no ass."
He's like, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, oh my god, it's taking me off now. Oh my god, maybe because I don't have any patience, but oh my god, like I couldn't help but to get physical. Like, I can't. Like, words can only get you but so far. Like, oh my god, I cannot.
All right, y'all. We got 2 M's down. We got past Marcel and Maurice. Now time to get to the third amigo. So we have a scene where Chris Fletcher shows up at Martell's rental house.
Why are you laughing?
Because this is so stupid. So Chris Fletcher shows up at Martell's rental house. Chris comes in. Martell's sitting down at his little desk doing that shit. They start off with Chris talking about his displeasure for being subpoenaed for Mel and Martell's custody case. And first of all, Martell's acting dumbfounded, like, First he gave this little reaction, like, He's like, oh, yeah, about that. It's just so crazy. Like, as a friend, you don't tell them. You don't ask them. You just bring them in.
Martell is a horrible person. All around. That's just how I feel. But like he really should do better in life. But he was a horrible husband. He's a horrible partner, but he's also a horrible friend. And I think we've all recognized that, like season 1. Mm-hmm. He's just not a good friend. And I feel like his friendships are clearly based on
what they can do for him. Or how they can help him.
Yes. I don't think that it's like from a genuine place. And you know what? I just had like an epiphany. You know, that's also, I feel like a lot of his romantic relationships as well. It's like, what can you do for me?
Right.
And that's why I say he's a horrible person, is because you're such a bad friend. This whole conversation alone, even if you guys don't go back to season 1, this conversation alone proves that he's not even a good friend to his homeboys.
And so, y'all, you know, Chris talks about his displeasure, and Martell claims, well, you know, I wanted somebody to talk that knows both me and Mel, who will say the truth, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, Chris, you know, says, like, I told you we didn't want nothing to do with this. Like, we're not choosing sides. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you not get? And, you know, of course, Martell does not care. He really doesn't.
He doesn't. He does not care. Hey, he does not care.
I guess he was hoping that Chris would be more on his side.
Yeah.
But anyways, off that, back to the funny part of this. Dang. So, I don't know if y'all know, the house Martell is in is up for sale. I guess this is like one of Chris's properties that he's trying to sell, and he's just doing Martell a favor, letting him stay in there until the owner sells it. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? After 8 months, the owner found a buyer. And Chris is letting Martell know, look, you got, what would you say? You got 2 weeks, 30 days?
Time out. You saying that they found a buyer now? Because that's not what happened. So the house was always on the market. The house has been on the market for 8 months consistently, right? Mm-hmm. And so Chris is explaining to him, like, I've already tried to cover for you when it comes to pushing back potential buyers or whatever. And that was the main issue. The main issue is we had this discussion 8-9 months ago. Mm-hmm. You knew this was a thing. I was already doing you a solid by letting you stay here. You're on a month-to-month lease. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, at any point, if there's a buyer, they can kick you out. Yeah. He's not understanding that at all. And I think the first part that was alarming to me, it was like, wasn't Martell and Mel in real estate in some type of way?
I think just more on the building side.
But still, it's real estate. Same. I mean, under the same umbrella. I'm not saying they were real estate agents.
Right. But I still think there's a knowledge gap overall. Like, of course, they may know more about the hands-on building aspect, but who's to say they knew more about the other side of it? What
the conversation that Chris Fletcher was having with Martell in this moment was basic knowledge. I have no real estate license. And that was basic knowledge. For him to sit here and just say, like, oh, like they have to give me 90 days. Or after you've already been given 8 months. Then we had this conversation again. I give you, what did he say, like 2 more months or something? He gave him even more time.
He did.
He gave him more time. You already knew that this was a thing. And basic knowledge is, yes, most definitely they can kick you out. If anything, he should know the laws and the regulations within Alabama.
Right.
So what his responses was as if he knew nothing about real estate, like in any type of way. And Chris is also his connect. This is his really good friend. So I'm not even accepting the fact that he didn't know because of who he has associated himself with. You were fully aware what was going on, what the possibility could be, and this whole process. And the only reason why we're having this conversation is because you are ignoring what the reality is. And you're trying to, you have an expectation that I'm supposed to save you. And I've already done that. I've already done you a solid.
And Martell kept saying too during their interaction, if, you know, a friend would do this.
Right. Then he manipulates, right? So when things are not going in Martell's direction, he starts to manipulate. Because then now all of a sudden he's like, you really gonna kick me out? It's me and my kids. We gonna end up in a hotel? Why? Like, it's making me think, like, what? Is it all about the money for you? Like, he completely, like turns this whole, or tries to turn this whole situation around. He's such a horrible.
And despite that, Chris still said, and look, homie, the most I give you is 2 weeks.
Right, because he said 90 days.
And he said 2 weeks.
Because he's sitting there arguing with Chris. Because let's back up. He's sitting there arguing with Chris about not leaving. Then says, well, I got a property, but I'm going to need 90 days.
Dude, you don't have a property.
But 90 days?
Not happening. 3 months.
Do you know how long 90 days?
That's 3 months.
Nobody says that. 90 days? That's not a thing.
He made that up. But like Chris said, you got 2 weeks, homie.
That's all I can do. That's all I can do for you. I cannot with Martell Ho. Call the police immediately, right now. Call them. Because he must be stopped. He must be stopped.
All right, so next thing we have, and this is going to be very quick because, not much came out of it. Stormy and Courtney are in their factory, and Stormy was catching Courtney up on their lunch, their lunch blow up they had with her, Tiffany, Letitia, and Kimmy, as well as Courtney was telling Stormy about his interaction with Marcella.
You just say it so effortlessly.
And it's just so funny because I'm just mad Stormy didn't tell Courtney this earlier. She made a comment. She's like, "Did you know this man too said, Stormy, you looking different?" Like
he did make those comments
because he look at everybody's wife.
But not just that, like it's all this like manipulation tactic, like Marceau is just such...
and Courtney was like, well, damn, I wish you would have told me that early. And like I said, I think if he would have told me that, then cameras wouldn't have mattered. Marceau would have been over that.
They need to call Crime Stoppers for Marceau. That's what needs to happen. Get them on the line.
Oh my gosh. But nothing really happened in that scene. They're just catching each other up on what happened. I don't know. Look like from a production standpoint, look like they got a lot of product. They packing a lot, so business must still be booming. Looks like in that scene.
Yeah, again, they just talked about everything that's been going on. Nothing really came from it too much. Of course, they talk about the Kiki situation, and Stormy real hood, so she was like, I don't care about being around no criminals now. Like, I don't care. And we gonna see how this all unfolds. Yeah. Stormy and Courtney both feel that way. They just kind of innocent till proven guilty, blah blah blah. So it's fine. But that leads us to Kiki. So Mel goes to visit Kiki. Y'all, I'm gonna make this really quick. I don't know what happened. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that comes through my timeline when it comes to Love and Marriage Huntsville and a lot of these shows, of course, right? But I don't really know what's going on with the Kiki situation. I don't know if it's true or not. I have no idea. But it's not because the information is not there. Honestly, I don't go looking for it because I just really don't care.
Not that invested.
Yeah, I'm just not invested in it. I'm not. And that's not saying I don't care about her as a person. I don't know her as a person. I will say this, in my personal opinion, watching this scene with Mel, I do think that there are drugs involved. I do. She was very... all over the place. Her eyes were really wide and she just kept mumbling and she was sweating a lot. And now it could be hot. They are in Alabama. I don't know, but I just feel like the whole scene, it was kind of giving me I think there may be an issue here. I wish Kiki all the best. I really hope that that's not the case. But that, in my personal opinion, just as a viewer, it does look that way. It does look that there is a drug problem. Again, I don't know this to be true. I'm just saying what it looks like. So, allegedly. But That's all I really have for that. It was the scene. She just kept mumbling and talking a lot.
She was talking about random stuff left and right.
She first started off saying that she was in the hospital. She just got out the hospital and really couldn't say 100% what was wrong with her. And then talked about all of these speaking engagements that she's getting. And like, it was just really concerning. It made me a little uncomfortable. And Mel's just sitting there listening to her. But I think even Mel, if she was to be honest, would say that something's not right. Mm-hmm. But the episode goes off as like a cliffhanger.
To be continued.
Because Mel brought up the Crime Stopper report. And that's how the episode went off. So we'll see. We did see the extended preview for the rest of this season, and it looks like there's a lot of content here. Thank you, Love and Marriage Huntsville people. Thank you, Carlos. Like, I think it helps. Like, we're gonna be honest. I mean, our Love and Marriage Huntsville videos have received the most views out of everything that we've done so far. And I know that's partly our fault. We need to be better at this. There go our dog. Anyways, but we get our most views from Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I know a lot of y'all said that y'all don't watch the show anymore and it's toxic and this, that, and the third, but the numbers ain't lying. It seemed like y'all forcing us to do this.
Like I said, this episode was, like I said, it was pretty entertaining. Like, good way to start off second half of the season.
Yes.
The 3 M's did not disappoint with their stupidity.
I cannot.
You know, like I said, let's hear Kiki's part, you know? Mel asked, I want to hear this. Because they got you on camera.
I mean, I don't know how to backtrack from this. Yeah, I don't really understand.
But y'all be sure to let us know what y'all think about this episode. You know, it's so good to have Huntsville back. Like, I just told the other day, like, I'm ready for Huntsville to come back. Like, they playing games. They definitely did not disappoint how they started off. What do you feel?
No, I said how I felt. Like, they definitely not skipping out on the content. Let's see if they can keep it up. Yeah, we'll see. They still get on my nerves, though. Don't get it twisted. Still get on my nerves.
Well, y'all be sure to hit that comment section. Let us know how you feel. We definitely going to respond. Y'all have conversations within yourselves in the comments. Continue to like and subscribe. Share our channel with your friends. Mm-hmm. Huntsville is back. Mm-hmm. And looking at the previews for the rest of the season, this is going to be so entertaining.
Oh my gosh.
But we appreciate y'all for coming with us on another episode of Reality Check TV. Do you have any parting words for our guests?
No.
All right. Well, as y'all know, still summertime. Drink that water, stay in the shade, be on the sidewalk.
Bye.